This is Shive IT sharing some more goodness around VCAC and the EMC hybrid cloud with you. You'll notice we're logged in as HR user right now. We have a pretty limited service catalog, a couple apps and a few VDI sessions. I've also broken it out on the left, so each one of these represents those. It's more intuitive when you use the left to categorize things. Here are your VDI sessions under consumer services, and under provision machines you'll see everything from a 3-tier app down to a small Linux VM. For the time being, let's deploy a VDI, a large VDI session. Between me, you, and the tree, I probably wouldn't generally advise giving large VDI sessions to HR users, but in certain circumstances and for the circumstance of this lab, we're going to do such a thing because I've already clicked on it. But generally, those would be considered lighter users in a typical enterprise IT organization. Let's submit the request. On the upper right hand, you can see the spinning dots. You can also see where I'm circling right now. It gives me a daily charge, as well as the hardware components that I selected, or the virtual hardware. As mentioned, I was in as HR user. I'm going to log out now and log in as demo admin. Hold on a second and let me put this in. When we log in as demo admin, I want you to notice the difference in our service catalog. It will literally be extremely robust compared to the HR users. Makes a lot of sense, but I want you to pay attention to that. It'll come up and our service catalog will be bigger than a Christmas list. And for a lot of us IT nerds, it'll resemble a Christmas list. I'm going to click on catalog. At the top, we have an all services. This is clearly pages, and I'll scroll down. You can see at the top, we've got, dynamic apps, 3-tier apps, backup services, Hadoop clusters, domain controller builds, Oracle apps to build, SQL apps, single VMs, and VDI sessions. Again, I've broken it out on the left-hand side to make it more intuitive, but those are services, and each one of those services represents some sort of hierarchy. We literally see it broken out like this between function, or maybe by BUs, or even geographies. In this case, it's more about a business function, or more specifically an IT function. Let's provision a LAMP stack real quick. Take a second for this to populate. As you can see, we'll just call this test 1. If you look closely, you can see the pricing, the daily cost of each one of these, and how many machines we're going to build. So fundamentally, this is a 3-machine LAMP stack. We'll also do a 3-tiered dynamic app, very similar to something like a LAMP stack. This could be let's call it a Microsoft stack, but fundamentally very similar. Front end, database tier, application layer. And let's do test number 2 here. We'll submit this. What's happening on the backside is we are calling out to vCenter Orchestrator. Orchestrator is kicking off workflows based on these blueprints, or from these blueprints, and it is initiating a bunch of tasks and going through that. We'll see that in a few seconds. Let's also create a large VDI session from demo admin, different than HR user, under demo admin. In this case, you can see I can add the number of CPUs. If you remember, under HR user, I didn't have the ability to change CPUs or memory. Because I'm demo admin now, and for this is for DevOps, I do have that ability. We'll call this guy the lucky developer, right? Because he gets to change the size of his CPUs and memory. We'll submit this. Mr. Lucky Developer will get a much better VDI session than others. I'm going to open up Virtual Center on the back side so we can see what the workflows are doing. This will take a second. I guess in the meantime, while that opens up, what I'll do is I'll create a data store using Viper workflows. Mind you, we're in a Viper workflow right now, meaning we're going to leverage Viper, software-defined storage. We'll call it test data storage. Oh crud, here it comes. There's Virtual Center. Here's test data storage. Now you can see this is easy, right? This is literally forcing me to follow a particular process. So no more configuration stray. Once you set up best practices, everybody will use the exact same best practices over and over again. So no longer will one storage admin like it one way and the other one like it the other way. We'll set this up by best practice, and then everybody will procure and provision LUNs the same way. Let's take a look at the requests we've already initiated. Tons of requests, right? File storage, VDI, 3-tier apps, VDI large. You can see the HR one, we're requiring approval for the HR VDI. My VDI session I'm allowing, it's in progress because I'm the demo admin. I didn't need any approval. We can also see pricing here and costs. Let's go back to the service catalog for a second. We'll scroll down. At this moment, let's do a little provisioning of a single Linux server. You can see this. While I provision this, I want you to pay attention to the second tab. That is our Zimbra email client. And you'll notice that a couple of messages have come in and a little red dot. What's happening there is notifications about each step of this process. I'm logged in as demo admin there, so it's going to notify me when somebody's making a request and when things have completed. We just created another Linux server for a VM guy. The developer needs another Linux VM, shocker. Here it is. I can look at the details of this if I'd like from the single pane of glass. On the left-hand side, we have submitted, updated, the group it belongs to, and where it stands in the process. Now, if I open up Virtual Center, I'll be able to show you all of these workflows. You haven't seen me do anything manually. No right-click from templates, nothing. This is all being done using the VCAC portal calling Viper and built-in workflows through VCO. Here's everything that's being kicked off, everything from cloning machines to scanning. Let's go back up to items and take a look. What I want to show you here are a couple of neat features and functions. This is changing leases. Changing lease is going to be a big component to this. We want operating system reclaim. I think everybody's aware of the fact that we've lost control of the number of VMs that our developers and our departments are using. We call it VM sprawl. This eliminates that. What a bunch of our customers are doing is quite literally a period of time before their annual audit, they are shutting down machines. Now, they don't shut it down cold. You get a notification some period of time. I think the default is set for 7 days, but some period of time before the machine is decommissioned or shut down, not necessarily deleted, you'll get an email saying, hey, the end of the lease is coming. Do you want to extend this lease? If they decide to extend the lease, fantastic. If they don't, we now get to reclaim that license and we won't have to pay for it. I don't know about anybody on watching this webcast, but I do know for sure that I have been in many instances where we've pushed the power button on a server that's been running for 6 or 7 years and crickets, nobody notices. Well, somebody's been paying for those licenses this whole time. In this case, we can control that and reclaim those operating systems prior to the audit. So that's a pretty fantastic piece of this tool. Your executives will love that piece. It will pay for itself. Let's edit that VM right now. Take a look. I can add memory. I'm a developer. Of course I want more memory. I'll just add some on the fly. As long as the operating system will support that, fantastic. We submit it from here. Again, all of the things I'm doing from a single pane of glass. I'm editing VMs. I'm procuring VMs. I'm procuring VApps. I'm procuring, what else have I done? Oh, a data store, a block data store. Pretty fantastic. Changing leases. Everything from the single pane of glass. All self-service. Pretty fantastic tool, very mature at this point, and getting a ton of adoption. Now let's go look at what this looks like to the administrators and the change control that's built in. You can literally see all of these messages here are actions and activities that have been taken, literally from submissions to completions to failures. You see a bunch of different activities here, so your administrator is never in the dark, or whoever is in charge, or whatever group is in charge, or change advisory board is always notified. You can actually force people. Here's an example of that expiration lease. The manager notification as well as the owner notification, and you can see if I want to extend it, I can just click on that button. The idea here is that if you give everybody proper notification,